Welcome back to Cobra Vids. As you can see, I have the Suzuki, the GZ250 in front of me here, and it's got quite a few miles on it now. You can see that we've got 10,590 miles. Okay, so since we have 10,500 miles on the bike, it's time to do some maintenance. The valves need checked. I have to clean up the carburetor, and there's some other things that I want to do just because it's going to be down for a few weeks, so I might as well check the petcock, make sure that the filter screens inside there are not clogged up, and maybe do a quick little flush of the gas tank and see how it looks inside. I'm going to pull the carburetors off and give them a good cleaning, replace any parts I think may need to be replaced. I'm going to pull off the clutch cover, and I'm actually going to see about changing out the clutch. I'm noticing some slippage, and I'd like to get it changed out. I don't know how long a motorcycle's clutch lasts, but we'll definitely check it out and see if it needs replacing. Other things we're going to do on the bike is we're going to clean it up while we have some of the covers off and stuff. We're going to get in there and do some detailed cleaning because she's a nice bike and we want to keep it that way. Okay guys, right now I'm going to work on getting the gas tank drained. There's not much fuel in there because I drove it 160 miles, so it should be pretty empty, maybe half gallon. We'll go ahead and drain that out of there, and then I can start removing the gas tank. We'll have to remove the seat and everything in order to get the gas tank off. As you guys already know, insert the key on the side here, turn it, and pull the seat off. That's how you get the seat off. Something else I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be removing my camera system because I don't want it on this bike anymore. I want it on my Kawasaki. Okay. So we'll go ahead and drain the fuel and then we'll continue on. I had someone comment, "What kind of birds are those?" Oh. And they were hearing the pigeons, but they weren't making the normal pigeon noise. They were sounding pretty weird. But yeah, they're like pigeons? What kind of bird? I said, those are pigeons. And they didn't respond to me, but
they probably thought you were weird.
Probably. Okay. Alright. This 250 has a single fuel line petcock. And the settings on them are on, prime, and reservoir. And the trick is, so I hope, and I'm told, that if I remove the fuel line and put it in the gas can like I have here, and then turn it on prime, all the fuel will run right out. But first of all, we're going to take the gas cap off. Okay, so we'll get the gas cap off of here so that there's no seal, so the air will flow in there, and hopefully that will help drain it out.
Will it?
Okay. Small flat head to get the hose clamps off. The engine's still a little warm. Oh, that's something leaking right there. It's just perfect time to look at anything. I will not be able to ride it anymore until I get these things fixed because it's just.
The truck pretty much done though.
Yeah, I'm confident that she's going to run.
Just
okay, so I got the hose running into here, and now I'm going to turn the valve to prime and see if the fuel starts coming out. I don't know if you can hear that on the camera, but it's actually coming out pretty good. So we'll just let it sit here and drain. Hopefully, don't take too long. You know, the cool thing is I can take this fuel in here and just go pour it straight into my Kawasaki. I need to find out where this is leaking from. This is an interesting kind of leak.
Jeez, I know, it smells like gas.
Yeah, that's gas leaking.
Or it's your brain smell of the gas seeing things.
That too. And, I think it might be running out. So.
Uh-oh, get to a gas station.
Yep, it ran out. So, what we're going to do is stop it there. Now I'm going to put the hose on there for now. And I'm just going to take the gas cap off. Oh. Wow. Wow. There's like nothing in there, son.
Oh no.
That's it, brother. Okay, now shut that off. What we'll do after we work on it, see if we improve it, about January, we're going to pull the gas tank back off with the the front and rear fenders, and we're going to clean them.
Oh jolly, I'm excited for that.
I know you are, because it is exciting. Okay, so to get the fuel tank off, we're going to have to undo these. These are a 10 millimeter. And we'll remove these here. And what I think is going to happen is we're going to lift it up and out. We shall see. This fuel tank looks beautiful inside. It's perfect. Part of what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking out the petcock and checking it out to see if it needs cleaning. And while we have it off, we'll pour a little bit of that gas in here, slosh it around, and try to drain it out. See if we get any rust deposits or anything coming out. Okay, there we go. This was pretty easy to pull out, I would say. I have to pull the fuel line out, and something my dad taught me a long time ago was use a golf tee for some things like this. So sometimes it works, sometimes they're too small and they won't fit. But we'll go ahead and just throw this in here. There you go, perfect. And it'll tighten it down a tad and it'll hold it in there. And now I don't have to worry about any fuel dripping out of here while I'm handling the tank. I'm going to take it off now. There's a little vent right here that I have to get. There's a vent tube right here, right on this side, right about here, that you have to remove. Rotate it. Because I need you to hold the gas tank up like that. There's a hose I have to undo, so hold it. Okay. Okay, and move. After removing that hose, then you can just lift it right up, and there you go. There's a tiny bit of fuel left in there, not much at all.
No help if needed.
Wow. I'm just so amazed at how tiny this bike looks without that gas tank on there. It's amazing. So now it looks like I can get to the valve port. There's a cover up front and a cover in back that comes off, and that's how you check the valves. And this will open everything up to where taking the carburetor out will be a piece of cake. First thing I want to do is I want to remove this panel and this panel here. Okay, this panel here is held on with a large screw. Oops. Keep dropping those things. I'll probably pull that off with the cable in just a little bit. Okay, as you guys probably saw in another one of my videos, this is the air cleaner, and we'll go ahead and remove this also because we're doing a full maintenance breakdown of the entire bike. We're going to inspect the chain that's got a few thousand miles on it. We're going to, oh, there's one over there. Filter, got a little splash of oil right there. Starting to look dirty, but it's not too bad. Put the screws back in the holes so we don't misplace them. Chain's looking really good. It's still adjusted the way I had it, so that's really good. Okay now, alright. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to remove these chrome pieces because for one, I want to be able to clean all the dirt out of the bike, and these have to come off in order to clean behind them. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these off. And if you want to pull off that chrome piece when I get done pulling this side off, you can. You don't have to. Having these off will also give me a chance to clean these up too. Ooh, I have a valve cover leaking. Valve cover leaking, son.
That's fun.
I could replace that. I'm going to have to. Okay, so I noted earlier that there was some type of oil right here, and I was wondering what was leaking. Well, I had just found it. This is the valve cover leaking down into the spark plug hole. So there's little fins, and it breathes pretty well through here. So these vents here go off into here. So that's something that I'm going to have to do. Ooh, my spark plug's a little loose. Interesting.
No...
Instead of taking these plates off and adjusting the valves that way, this valve cover has to come off because it has to be resealed. So I'll explain how to take it off when I get to it, but for right now, I'm just going to continue opening up this area. I'm going to pull the carburetor off while I'm at it. But to pull the valve cover off, you have to pull off this upper motor mount bracket, and there's several other connecting points to the bike. So removing these out of the way is not going to affect it at all. I just hope that I have enough room to lift that valve cover up and off and not have to drop the engine, which would also not be a big issue. You want to work on pulling the exhaust pipes off then? Huh?
Yeah.
We're gonna have this poor bike gutted.
Can I see if they'll fit?
What? You have to get your own tools because I need this pretty regularly. This spark plug's loose, son. That. Oh, I was thinking. Yeah, that alone could make you lose compression. So that's a possibility of why it's gutless. And sometimes it's fine, and sometimes it's gutless. These must be screws that have to come off to get the valve cover off. Okay. I'll move over this side.
Like the 10?
Huh?
Like 10? 14?
You guys, we were done pretty. Yeah, you also probably done. Now we got the other side off. This is the bracket that holds those chrome pieces. That's an Allen bit. It's a 4, number 4. That's probably me. The carburetor sits in the bike like this here, and this is the side that the engine pulls air fuel through. This comes from the airbox there, and that's what it looks like inside. Butterflies over here, and it looks like the throttle body's a little dirty, so we'll give that a nice cleanup. We'll pull the bowl off and check everything out, make sure that we're looking good. 8mm for those exhaust nuts, like I told you.
Oh.
So go loosen up that other mount, and then we'll show the removal of it. So to pull this top mount off, there's 3 bolts, and they go all the way through. They're short ones. So turning in the back, so we got to get a wrench. And once we take this off, then we'll move these lines out of the way to give as much room as we can get to remove the valve cover. Not quite able to see that, but anyway, just in case you missed it, these motor mount brackets slide right off. There's one on this side that I can pull out too. There you go. Take the motor mount bolts and go set them aside. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, now I have to start loosening up these hoses or these wires and stuff so that I can get them out of the way. And I want to open up this here, and fortunately there's this pull tab that you can lift up, and then the zip cord comes apart. And so at least I'll have the video to tell me where these were. These are located. Got one up here. And I feel like they're in good shape. Oh, this is a normal zip cord. Oops. Can you get that?
Stop throwing it.
I know, that's a good point, son. It's a good point. Thank you. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to undo this plug. We can get some electronic cleaner and clean up all these plugs. If they need it, I'll take a really close look at them to see if they even need cleaned, because they might have some type of gel on them. Okay, here's the ignition wire, so we'll move that over here. Okay, put that there. I might have enough room. I might have to loosen up the front mount and drop the engine a little bit to get it off, but that wouldn't be too hard. Okay, now that we're at this, just in case I do have to drop the engine, I think it's time to get the exhaust pipes off. And that's done fairly easy. Like with everything else on this bike, everything seems to be very easy to work on. Alrighty, so there's two exhaust pipes that go down into one single, and these come off. There's two here and two on the other side, and then there's a large nut in the back. I'll show you where that's located too. But these here will just unscrew from the cylinder. And once we get these unscrewed, okay, so we're gonna let this cap just slide down, and I'm going to put the screws, I'm going to stick the screws away somewhere safe, because when I start pulling it off, I may want to maneuver the pipes in a way that these bolts might get in the way. So we're going to go ahead and take these bolts and put them safely somewhere else. Go on the other side for that one. There we go. I'll put them over here with the rest of the parts. To get the pipes off, you're going to have to remove your brake. And it's held on by 2 bolts. What size? 12?
Yeah.
12 millimeter. And once those are off, the pedal comes off and you can set it aside. Right under here, at the back of this bracket that goes down here, there's a larger bolt. And this is what size?
I want to say 15, 14.
This back bolt here is 14 millimeter. I need something smaller. I need 13 or 12. Maybe this 12 over right here. That's it. Alright. So there's a bracket holding the second pipe to the wide joint that has to come off, and that's 12 millimeter. There we go. It's one side. Now this other one should come off pretty easily. Come here and hold this up out of the way so I know I'm not fighting against it. There we go. Might have been. Okay, so now the exhaust pipe's off. This bike keeps getting smaller and smaller. Okay, so I'm going to put this bolt back in here. These bolts are already here, so we're safe. Okay, so this one will have to be pulled down and around like this because I believe the clutch is under this, so I'll have to pull this cover off in order to open up this area. I'm thinking that makes sense to me. I can't see any other area that the clutch would be. Right, so the exhaust pipe off. This would be a good time to drain the oil and everything. Very nice. Very nice. Nice and clean. And we're going to be able to scrub this down and get this engine looking probably brand new again. We'll take some polish and polish it around. This bike will look brand new again except for the fenders and the gas tank. But that will come very soon. Very soon, my son. Trust me. Trust me.
I just thought of something.
What?
I wonder if my teacher's counting school days or summer school days too, because can you imagine if I attended summer school too?
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be more like, I don't know, before being done by the beginning of next year would be amazing.
Nah, nobody. So next we're going to remove the valve cover. I gotta pause the video and check my service manual and see how this comes off, if I'm going to screw anything up. Okay, in order to get the valve cover off, you have to of course take off all the screws or all the bolts and get it all loosened up. This one here won't come all the way out, so I'm hoping that when I lift the valve cover off, it comes out with it, or else I'm going to have to drop the engine about an inch in order to get this out. But anyway, so now I've got everything loosened, and once you get everything loose, for one, there will still be a bolt right here that you have to loosen up, and I imagine on the front one there's one also. But prior to just lifting this thing right out, you have to loosen up the rods here. These are like the camshaft rods. I don't know how they work, but we shall see once we open it up. But anyway, these here slide into these holes, and if you notice, there's an O-ring on there to keep it from leaking. Okay, that's something that we're gonna have to inspect real closely and possibly replace. And this one comes out just the same. And keep in mind the holes there. One's at the tip of the shaft, and the other one's at the back side. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pull this side off. We'll see if there's one on this side. I believe there is. Got a yipping dog out there. Okay. O-ring came off. Okay, alrighty. Yep, there's one in there, alright. Let's pull it off the wrench, huh? Okay. I have to get a 10mm wrench out. And then these should come right out here. Oh, I never like that sound when you're undoing bolts like this. Sounds so scary, like you snapped a bolt. So I kept all of these bolts in order in a pattern so that when I get this off, I can screw them back into the cylinder head. So undo this last bolt and see if we can get it out of here. Oops, too big. See if we can get this valve cover out of here without having to lower the engine. Oh god, that sounds so scary. Just a snap sound. Okay, so now let's see if we could pop this valve cover. There we go. One side. Man, looks like I might be able to get this out. Oh, come on. I don't want you to do that. Damn you. It's wanting to fall out of place. Oh yeah, they're slightly different. So it's basically the 13s point to the passenger side. Okay, so we'll clean this up a little bit. Yeah, it just started freaking, just started leaking right there, man. And my spark plug's loose. I can't believe that. I'm glad it vibrated out and then stripped the threads out.
That would be funny.
No, it wouldn't. It's almost like someone's had this off because this doesn't look like factory. Okay, so now what I can do is I can take a clean rag and I can lay it over there to make sure no debris falls in it. Now what we have to do, we're going to go ahead and drain the oil out. Okay, so we got to change the oil, or empty the oil so that we can have it changed when we get it back up and going. I will change the oil because I will be pulling this cover off here, so we'll have to drain it anyway, so I will get it done. Pretty dirty oil. That's probably as dirty as my oil has ever been in this bike. I change it every 1,000, 2,000 miles, and I think it's been probably 3,000. Definitely needed changed. This bike don't hold very much oil. I think it's like 1.5 quarts. Let's set the bike up so it drains a little more. Because we want all the oil out of here so it doesn't make too much of a mess. Okay, so go ahead and put the plug back in. We'll just snug the nut up. Probably pretty close to the torque spec. Alright, so here's our oil. Not incredibly bad, but it's not good either. Oh, but I almost see metal shavings in there. Okay, being 10,000 miles, it would be really nice to see if there's any metallic debris coming out of there, but really, if there would be, it would be all aluminum. So you really can't tell. And the only thing that would be a magnetic metal would be the steel, which would be the cylinder. But the piston, I'm 100% positive, is aluminum, and as well as most other things. So I'm just going to run this through here, see if I pick up anything that I shouldn't pick up. nothing magnetic, guys. Okay, so now all we have to do is loosen everything up and this should come off. But I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to research my book and make sure that this does come off for the clutch. Alright guys, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the oil filter, put it in a safe spot because I can reuse that for right now. Do you want to get a sandwich baggie so I can save this filter, or some type of baggie? Remember I showed you guys how to set up some plastic so that you don't make a mess all over your bike? Well, here's another way. You can just hold it upright and most of it will pour right down in there.
That's all she could offer.
Huh?
This is all she could offer.
Ooh, that seal broke. We're gonna have to. Oh no, that's just oil. Okay, good. That's just oil. Okay, so now we'll pop out that oil filter. These nuts back on so we don't lose them.
You might lose them.
That was pretty funny, huh? Do you want to get my magnet thingy? That was pretty good. Do it. Find it. Come on. Is that easy?
I was gonna try to do it without getting oil.
I just replaced this. It doesn't look that bad. Whoa. Little passages. Maybe that's how you prime the oil pump after having all this off. That's right there. See, I may have to buy this seal here.
Okay.
If this is an O-ring, I might be able to use it, but I have a feeling it's a flat gasket. Okay, let's it's probably going to dribble out on me once I start moving all this. Okay. Put all these in order so I can get them back in. Correct hole. I'm going to start putting all these bolts in order so I can get them back in their correct threads. It would dribble out some more.
So I shouldn't break it.
Oh, that just means you're gonna have a real tight clutch.
Which is bad or good?
Is good or bad. I'm hoping that this bracket don't get in the way because I can't remove it. If this is in the way, I'm gonna have to grab it and bend it out of the way. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. There she is. Yep, it's a flat gasket.
You have to replace it.
I think so. Yeah, this is how you prime the oil pump. So you'll have to pour oil into this hole right here and fill it up, and that will prime the oil pump so that right when we fire it up, it'll have oil pressure. Okay, so now it's in neutral.
Isn't that the thing that broke at one time?
Huh?
Isn't that the thing that
No,
broke one time?
that was the other side. I haven't had this side open yet, so this is my first time.
You haven't even had the oil filter out, or you have?
I've had the oil filter out, but I haven't had it this far apart. This is insane, man. I'm gonna have to order that part. I'm gonna see if Kelly's has it.
They're Kawasaki, they're not Suzuki.
Mom said that Kelly stocks Suzuki parts too.
You go pee? You go pee?
No.
Okay.
It's supposed to be steady in there. It's steady. It's steady.
Oh, sorry.
What? You need help?
I want to lean it over more, but I couldn't do it by myself. I just want to drain more of this dirty oil out. This clutches actually look decent. Pull like me out there.
Extreme picker? No, I'm just kidding. There ain't no way.
Wait a minute. These clutch springs here, I'll have to measure them to make sure they're not collapsed. But that's no big issue. You just use a caliper. They feel springy, don't they? Okay, so.
Is that another dad joke? Is that the electric? Or
No, this is a clutch.
oh, that whole thing's the clutch.
This is one clutch. This is the
Second clutch that you're breaking.
this is the steel ring, which is pretty good. There's a little bit of wear in here. A little bit of wear and tear. See, one clutch could cause this thing to slip.
Or you're just so used to all the power in the other motorcycle that.
No. This was slipping, and they look like they're getting hot. A little bit of signs of heat.
Are they expensive?
I don't know, but they really don't look bad. I'll have to get out the caliper and measure these little pads here, but I expected some of these to be worn down. They actually look really good. That's the last one. Let's see, that's gunked up. This is gunked up like along here. Maybe that's supposed to be there, I don't know. like they got some wear on them. Alright, so now I'm going to pause the video, look up the measurements for the clutches, and measure them to see how worn they actually are. So, when I measure the thickness of the clutches, they're measuring on the low side of the scale. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and buy a new clutch set. That I could use them, of course. They were working just fine, well, except for the slipping I felt. They were working. I was able to go down the road, but I think while I have this all open, I'll go ahead and get the gasket that belongs there, and I'll go ahead and buy a new clutch set so we can get that all in there. New clutch, rebuilt carburetor, repaired valve cover, freshly cleaned out gas tank, and a nice detailed cleaning is what this bike is going to get. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. This is part 1. Part 2 is going to be when I get the parts and I start reassembling everything. I hope that you learned a few things here as you watched along with me here. This is the GZ250, so if you have one or know somebody that has one, give them my channel name. Tell them to subscribe, because a lot more fun is going to happen with this bike. After the engine issues are all taken care of and she's back on the road, this winter I'm going to be pulling the green parts off of it, and I'm going to be sanding them down, and I'm going to be repainting them. I don't know for sure what color I'm going to paint it. If you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments below. Thank you. Thanks for watching Cobra Vids. We'll see you on the next one.